Hey guys, this is there for Defy stage 2 in DFFFOO global. This stage is actually pretty simple overall. Only thing you need is a way to dispel buffs. So given the nature of there for Defy, where you probably want to save your harder hitting units for other stages, this is going to be a Celes solo. And Celes can actually solo this stage pretty easily and pretty consistently as well. All you really need is the Diabolos Summon, some sort of call ability that can dispel all enemy buffs. On this stage in particular I'm using Seymour, but doesn't have to be Seymour. As long as your call can remove all the enemy's buffs here, that works. If you have those, then it's all a matter of timing when to use her abilities, and I'll take you guys through it. First off is getting to this point, which is using the call to dispel and surviving the first few turns. In order to do this consistently, what you need to do is firstly, in terms of setup, remove all buff boost speed and Shine Age Lite passive on Celes. You can also refer to the video description for the passives that I removed. With those passives removed, both bosses should begin the battle first before Celes. And what you want to do on Celes's first turn is use one runic and one Shine Age. This should always allow her to have her turn when the bosses hit 30%, which will then allow you to dispel their buffs using your call ability of choice. Next up, and this is a little bit tricky but it should also be fairly consistent, you just want to wait until the bosses enter force time. As long as they only have one turn each, like so before Celes's next turn, you should be fine. If you can't seem to get this, you can always go BT mode before they enter force time, but the later you use BT mode the better. The moment Celes gets a turn when the enemies are in force time, go into BT mode. The purpose of BT mode is to reapply all the buffs on Celes, especially her runic buff, as well as finally land her trap on both enemies, because you will be entering into force time once the enemies exit theirs. At this point also, there will be a 20% HP poison up, but that doesn't really matter too much because Celes can actually out-heal the HP poison. Now that you are in BT mode, the next order of business is to just wait until the bosses are out of force time. Here I got pretty lucky because Celes gets a turn right after the boss exits force time, but you actually have quite a little bit of leeway, so if the turn order isn't exactly the same here, don't worry too much about it, and I'll cover more into why later. During Celes's turn, just use EX or Shine Age. Alright, so the moment the bosses exit force time and Celes gets a turn, go straight into your force time. You have a little bit of room here as long as you enter force time before the bosses hit 30% force gauge, then you are good. In fact, it's actually better if the bosses are somewhere between like 15-20% force gauge, but this is also fine. You can make up for it later. In Celes's first force time, you sort of want to juggle between her LD, her EX and her Shine Age. Use her LD only if you need to refresh her traps, otherwise try to save it because you obviously need the traps to last the entire fight. The EX should always be used whenever it's up, unless the traps have worn out. Otherwise, beyond the EX and LD, use Shine Age. Also, near the end of force time, Celes's BT aura will obviously wear off, since the BT aura has only like 5 or 6 turns left at this point. Do not refresh her BT aura yet, hold off until the later part of the fight, because there really isn't any need for her BT aura at this point of the game. The bosses are extremely harmless, essentially they just do brave attacks every turn, and even if they do HP attacks, it's only a single HP attack and Celes will always be able to tank it. I'll sort of speed up the battle a little bit until we come close to the end of the first force time, just to make this video length a little bit more manageable. For reference though, the entire run took about 18 minutes. Alright, welcome back. Celes' turn is up and there's only 2 turns of force time remaining. If Celes's traps can last until somewhere close to the end of force time, then do not refresh her traps yet. Okay, on the final turn of force time, you want to use Runic. Actually here, since the enemies are only at 3% force gauge, I could have pop summon and probably make it to force time before they hit 30%, but this was only because I got very lucky the turn order at the start. In one or two of my other runs, I actually entered force time when the bosses were at about 15% force gauge, and this is why I actually used Diabolos Summon. Because if you try to reach your second force time before the bosses hit 30%, it's going to be pretty tight. Possible but tight. Therefore, I decided to go with this route instead, which takes a little bit longer because right here, as you can see, you have to spam some actions, but makes the run significantly more consistent. I did make a mistake here, shouldn't have used the Seymour base call. I forgot that the bosses will cleanse the debuffs. So don't do what I did here. Essentially just spam AA and Runic until the boss hits 30% and then pop Diabolos Summon. Not many people are aware of this, but Diabolos Summon actually dispels all enemy buffs when you pop it. So the idea is that just let them hit 30%, then immediately pop Diabolos Summon. Taking the few Runics before summon also helps you charge your force gauge a little bit, and this actually will allow you to charge your force gauge enough to pop FR before you exit summon mode. One thing that I want to stress here is do not use call abilities AA or Runic inside summon mode, because instant turn abilities actually charge your force gauge a little bit slower, and if you use them, there is a chance that you might not make it to 100% by the final turn in summon mode. Final turn in summon mode, and Celes is at 100% FR, so you know where this is going. Just repeat the same thing, go into force time, and the bosses are so low that you don't even need the full force time. I do have 5/5 ultimate weapon, and this also leads me to believe that the run can probably be done with something like a 3 or maybe even 2 out of 5 ultimate weapon. Coming out of summon mode, in the early parts of your force time, there are a few things that you need to do. First off, you will need to refresh Runic, because here in my run, Runic is at 1 turn left. So I used one force time turn here to refresh Runic. Here is also a good time to pop her BT plus and get her BT plus aura back up. I feel this is a better place to use BT plus as opposed to earlier in the fight. For example, if you have like a 2 or 3 out of 5 ultimate weapon, you'll probably enter force time when the bosses are at about 40% health or so, in which case you'll probably get a bit more mileage from her BT plus using it here. At this point though, the bosses are also extremely harmless. Even if you don't have BT plus, the fight will still work. Just follow the same rule as the first force time, which is try to use LD only if you need to refresh the traps. Otherwise use EX when it's up, or Shine Age otherwise. Once more, I'll just speed up the video a little bit to the end of the fight. Alright, welcome back. I'm sort of near the end of the fight, and that's pretty much it really. I just want to mention, you know, that there's really a lot of room here. You can see that I still have 5 turns of force time at 99%, and the bosses aren't really doing anything, so you can just take your own sweet time to finish them off. Here I just did runic just to save on the turn count, but otherwise pretty much it. Simple fight. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoy the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!